So in this lesson, we're going to go through a specific example of what happens when a charge moves through a uniform magnetic field. And because the magnetic force we talked about is perpendicular to the velocity, if the magnetic field doesn't change it, then the magnetic force acts as a centripetal force because it's perpendicular to the velocity, and we end up with an interesting result that the charge will move in a uniform circular path. All right, so now we're going to look at a specific example of a charge moving through a uniform magnetic field. And I want you to keep in mind when we did this QV cross B, right, this equation for the magnetic force, that the magnetic force vector is always perpendicular to the direction of the velocity. Right? And if the magnetic field is uniform, that is, it doesn't change in direction or magnitude, then the magnetic force is constant and acts perpendicular to the velocity. And when would you think that happens is when you have a velocity here and we have a centripetal acceleration towards the center of the circle that's perpendicular. What that means is the magnetic force is going to act like a centripetal force, going to cause the charge to just move in a circular path in that uniform field. And so a lot of our analysis is going to be this and then equal to m times the centripetal acceleration. Okay, if you want to know something about the radius of the circular path or going in there like that. Okay, so that's pretty much all that's going to happen, and that's because precisely from the right-hand rule and the way the magnetic force works, being perpendicular to the velocity means it's if the magnetic field isn't changing, then it's going to move in a circle there. Okay, so let's look at some problems here. So we have a ignore this part. I skipped part A of this problem because it wasn't really relevant for this. Protons traveling to the right in the plane of the page. It enters a magnetic field with speed this, the magnetic field here. The effects of gravity are negligible. Calculate the magnitude of the force proton as it enters the field. QV cross B. Okay, and because because the velocity is already perpendicular to the magnetic field, we don't have to decompose anything. We just do QVB. And so this is going to be 1.6 is a proton. So that's the charge of a proton. The velocity is 3 times 10 to the fifth. And the magnetic field is going to be 0.03. So this one, you just simply multiply the numbers, and that will give you the magnetic force. And that's going to be 1.44 times 10 to the negative 15 newtons. Okay. Sketch a possible path of the proton as it travels through the magnetic field, clearly label the path P1. So here, let's find the direction of the force. So we have our fingers to the right, our velocities to the right, magnetic field is into the page. My force is going to be upward, but it's going to rotate as it goes upward. So it's going to come in here and it's go upward, and it could do something like this. It just needs to be a circular path. Any circular path will do. As long as it's kind of like this, you can make it look like this. Don't make it go in a full circle necessarily, but it will definitely have a curved path in here as it's going. But we could just do a quarter circle if you want, but something like that. Second proton now enters the magnetic field the same point from the same direction but at greater speed. Greater speed means it's going to have a greater magnetic force. Greater magnetic force, like if you want to think of this as equal to mv squared over r, that's one way to look at this relationship here. And if you want to think about like finding the radius of the circle, all right, because qvb equals m times the centripetal acceleration, mv squared over r. The velocity, one of the velocities cancels you saw for the r. It's equal to mv over qb. What happens is as you increase the speed here, everything else stays the same. The radial path will increase. So it's going to be doing something like have a larger radius. So do something like this. This would be path 2, P2. Okay, and you can see that we did that from our F net equals ma, and just recognizing it's going to be centripetal acceleration. Now, next, an electric field is applied in the same region, such that there's no net force on the first proton. Calculate the magnitude and the direction of the electric field relative to the coordinate system shown in B. So we're saying we have an upward magnetic force. So we want the electric force to be down to cancel this out. And it needs to equal this 1.44 times 10 to the negative 15. Okay, and that's Q times the electric field. Because this is a positive charge, proton, we want the electric field to point downward, the same direction we want the electric force to be. So the electric force is going to be 1.44 times 10 to the negative 15. You're going to divide it by 1.6 times 10 to the negative 19. And then you're going to get, let's take that divided by 1.6 e negative 19. I get 9,000 newtons per meter. Okay, something like that there. Okay. Let's do another example. So your research director has assigned you to set up a laboratory's mass spectrometer, so it will separate strontium items having a charge 2e from a beam of mixed items. The spectrometer accelerates a beam of ions from rest, so the velocity is 0 here, through a potential difference of epsilon, after which the beam enters a region containing a uniform magnetic field B of constant magnitude perpendicular plane of the path of the ions. The ions leave the spectrometer at a distance x from the entrance point. You can manually change epsilon. In what direction must B point to produce the trajectory of the ions shown below? Okay, so they're going to come in with a velocity here. They're going to experience a magnetic force here, and that's going to be the centripetal acceleration. So first, let's figure out how fast they're going to be. Well, we want the magnetic force when they enter in to be this way. So let's do our right-hand rule here first. So here, index finger's up. I want my thumb to be the left because that's the direction of the force. And therefore, I want the magnetic field to be pointing into the page, right? If my, make sure I have the right hand. So index finger up, force to the left, into the page here. So the first part is into the page using our right hand rule. Why the ions travel on constant speed around the semicircular path? Why the speed remains constant? Because the force is only perpendicular to the velocity. There is no component of the magnetic force that is tangent in the same direction or is parallel to the velocity. So it only changes directions. Only centripetal force only causes a change in direction in there. Calculate the speed that we're going to enter in here. So this is going to be conservation of energy. You're going to say Q times the potential difference, right? Is going to give you the change in the energy, right? The work is going to be there. So Q times the potential difference. It's going to give it energy, the 1/2 mv squared minus 1/2 mv0 squared. So work is the change in energy. But we start from rest here. So it's 2e epsilon is equal to 1/2 mv squared. So the velocity is going to be 2e epsilon divided by m and then square rooted. And I'm not going to plug in the numbers. You can just plug in the numbers into there. That's fine. I'm just going to put it in terms of the letters that are given here. Okay, calculate the accelerating voltage needed for the ions to attain the speed you calculate. Oh, actually, sorry. This is in terms of, do we not have... Oh, we don't know... Let's see. Mass, charge... Oh, we don't know the potential difference here. So this is not the correct thing to do. Should have plugged in the numbers. Sorry, that's what we'll do in part D. We want to know this is related to the magnetic force necessary here. So the magnetic force is going to be QVB, right? And that's going to equal mass times the centripetal acceleration, which is v squared over r. Now, what is all the numbers that we have here? So Q is going to be 2e, velocity, magnetic field equals v squared. What's the radius of this path? They're telling x is 1.75, but it's x over 2. Because the radius of this circular path, this is x over 2, right? X is not, that's the diameter of the circle. So one of the v's cancel, and so you can solve for v by multiplying by x over 2. You're going to get 2eb times x over 2. 2's cancel. You get eb times x. And we know what b is. We know what x is. And we know e is 1.6 times 10 to the negative 19. So that's the speed that we want. And then what potential do we need? We can solve it here from this equation we did before. Work is the change in energy. So the epsilon divided by 2, it's going to be 1/4 mv squared over e. But the v is given by this quantity. So it's going to be 1/4 m ebx squared over v. 1/4 m, over e. me squared b squared x squared over e. One of the e's cancel. Honestly, you just plug in numbers at this point. 1/4 meb squared x squared. Like that. Okay, and again, you can plug in the numbers that we have here. The mass, electric charges, or 1.6 times 10 to the negative 19. We know b, we know x. Okay. If you found this video helpful, come check out our school community. It's got an amazing bunch of features. It's got extra videos, corrected videos, better than the ones that I have errors on YouTube. It's got multiple choice free response questions. I hold live Q&A sessions and go through more problems and and I answer students' questions, help with schoolwork, all kinds of things. If you want to check it out, look in the description below or check out the website and find us in the school community. You get a 7-day free trial to give it a shot, just to check it out, see what it's like, come join some calls, and honestly, come learn AP Physics 1 even faster with us.